seen really awful Vi play. DFM, I trust to maybe do this a bit better than everyone else.
Yeah, and I think the key thing is that it gives Yaharong tools that he can move around the map with, because he is such an impactful player when he's getting out of that mid lane, getting ganks going on the side lanes. But we are jumping into game one of the Juggernaut match between DFM and Sengoku.
Clash of Titans, one ward down, advantage DFM in this early setup. Both AD carries leaning towards the curl, no one taking any risks, everyone leaning into economy, leaning into the tension that will just precipitate through the first 10 minutes of this game. Steel has the most agency, but in the extended fights, it can go either way.
Thought we were going to get some action there at the level 1. DFM, a creative team, not just in terms of draft, but also in terms of their player patterns, in terms of what they want to do. And they have taken control of Sengoku's bot side jungle, but credit to the Sengoku side. They are not going to be blindly walking in there. We do have a split map state, though.
How crazy is it that King Kong and Godzilla are face to face? They're not breathing. They're not moving. They will eventually spot each other. No immediate punches thrown though. These are the big guys. And we move slowly.
I do like that ward from Vital, though, not really committing to anything in order to put that one down, but it means that they do get guaranteed vision on where Steel is starting, and with this sort of blue ward placed at the Raptors as well. So Goku have got full information of what the Vi is going to be doing. Hook coming through from Harp there, but he is junked very low on this Nautilus.
I just love that, like, Yumi's health bar does not matter at level 1. You can just play it as a secondary AD carry, jump on the AD carry, and suddenly your lane is back at full health. Is that Twitter?
Yeah, that's Twitter, and that's a lot of DFM hype. As Harp finding the hook there onto Vital, was going to have to cleanse, but it looks like First Blood goes in favor of the challengers. Sengoku strike first.
Man, Yumi is just so powerful. Harp felt like he was stuck between a rock and a hard place there, and just had to trade down onto NT. Summoners burned all across the board. Only the AD carries maintain their flashes. But at level 1, the Yumi is just so much better.
And the thing is as well, that's a kill on DFM's strong side of the map. That's the side that Steel can play towards, as you see him pathing towards that bot lane. But Sengoku, they make the play work, and that means that Once can go through into this top side and potentially threaten or force away Ebby.
This is a real risk for the Vipaz, taking quite low there. That's quite rough in this matchup. Not something you'd like to see. The Renekton will heal up slowly, but this is more of a passive, a substance than that all in. Let's take a quick look at this replay. Look at NT's health bar and positioning. He is absorbing this hook. He's up front and center. Harp is now stuck all the way up on this wave. He's trying to get the angle onto Vital, flashes forwards, catches NT, and is trying to take the Yumi out. He's committed fully, but this health bar does not matter until it reaches 0, even more than anyone else's. Just jumps back on and it's fully effective.
And it's surprising for me to see a play like that come out from Harper, a player who has been honestly exceptional ever since he joined the league, ever since he came into the LJL at the start of the year. His ability to roam on support has been exceptional. His ability to find 2v2 kills has been great as well. And yeah, he's found a 2v2 kill, but it's not towards the team that he would have liked.
All right, just hanging on around mid. Jet is low mana and is a decent target, but with the wave state open, it's going to take a moment just to wait for Steel, just for DFM to get a little stronger. And unfortunately, that time Once has walked away. As will, like, look at that mana bar. Yeah. That is only just viable.
Yeah, and that's just Jet. He plays right on the edge of what is possible, and with the support roaming over, Sengoku feel free to make some plays in the side lane. Once visiting onto Ebby, the Ornn forced to flash away, but another kill going in favor of Sengoku, this one for Once.
The early game just stepping up slowly and slowly. DFM maybe dropping the bag on that mid play.
Yeah.
Once walking away to top, executes slightly better. Priority also secured in the bottom lane.
Doesn't have the aftershock on the Nautilus, so it's going to be pretty squishy here with Vital chasing him forward. Is able to spider Nautilus himself away, but with the speed up from the zoomies and the burst fires, Sengoku would just keep going to go for this. Youthspot low as well. This is not the way this should be going. Flash forward from Vital as he finds the kill. Youthspot's going to be able to turn it around though. 1-for-1 AD carry straight into the bot lane. No! NT, the bloodthirsty kitty, claims another. As Steel will chase him down, but missing that Vault Breaker means that he cannot claim another kill.
Ayumi Solo Bolo, this character is just so effective at this level of play. The timings, the quick auto attacks, the damage is so misleading. We'll see it here once again. Keep your eyes on the Yumi. Harp, really squishy, no aftershock, as you mentioned, gets torn through by Vital. He's stacking up here. He's got his lethal tempo before Udapon is even engaged. Such huge advantage. Look at the Yumi. He's auto attacking on cooldown, staggering forwards. He's adding hundreds of damage to this 2v2. Vital maybe a little bit too far. The minions are the difference there with the ignite. And that's a Yumi Solo Bolo. Steel, if you don't hit the punches on Vi this early on, the champion is not able to output enough damage.
Yeah, it doesn't want to commit the flash onto NT. Wasn't sure if they would have even killed them if they used that summoner spell, but we've had a little bit of a flip of the script here, Temporal, because usually we'd associate DFM with being the team that comes out to these early game leads that can snowball off of these early skirmishes, but 6 minutes in, Sengoku, 4 kills to 1 and a 1,500 gold lead. This is unexpected and bodes very, very well for this team going forward.
You could flip the nameplates here. I would raise my eye slightly. A Vital Sivir and a Jet Talia coming out together, because it's not something we've seen exactly before. It's the Ocean Dragon. The timing does line up nicely for Steel. We'll come back to that in a second. But the early game script for DFM normally looks so good, so calm and controlled. Even if it is not advantage breaking, it ensures safety, or it puts a jungler in a really good position, a laner in a really good position for the next few minutes. Here, all we've seen as a matter of that is that Steel will only be 30 seconds behind once extra in trade for an early Ocean Dragon.
And I think the weird thing as well that we've seen from DFM is that it is Ebi on the on. I like the pick, don't get me wrong. I think it is a very, very strong denial, but I look at this guy as a carry player. I look at this guy as someone that can get leads in lane and translate those into skirmishes around the rest of the map. Now, I respect DFM going for this 2-carry composition. I think Yaharong and Utapon are excellent players, but the real advantage that they had for me coming into this matchup was the fact that they had that extra man in the top lane that could make things happen.
They comfortably go wider. Ebi is Mr. Tryndamere. He's Mr. Urgot. I didn't see which picture of a champion he tweeted 20 minutes ago, as he always does.
Right, so this is over-aggressive here. Steel adds level 6, and Harp can flash a dredgeline you. Moment of madness, honestly, from the Sengoku AD carry, as it is a double for Utapon, and now the bot lane is getting turned around.
You could see he thought he could reach the wall there. A little too comfortable for Vital to maybe rein that ego in slightly as Utapon does strike back. That's the 3-1 and 0 scoreline on this Sivir now, even on CS. And you have to wonder, middle cut. It's going to be that ever Clash of Titans we've learned to love in summer. We're going to see AD carries going fast and AD carries going faster.
Yeah, AD carries dealing a lot of damage as well, I think is the main thing. As Sengoku starting up this Rift Herald on spawn, this is something that you can do as Sejuani actually has a fair bit of damage to these neutrals. They've actually roamed up Vital and Enti, so Sengoku engaging a full-on lane swap 8 minutes into the game.
Paz is holding on in the base with his teleport, just waiting to check assignments, waiting to check Ebi as he comes out of base with no immediate movement across the map. And with Sivir maintaining in the bottom lane, something she is just so good at, just clearing that wave on her own, getting a bit of extra experience. Then he will just walk to the bottom lane, try the 1v1, collect this huge wave. Meanwhile, on top side, once getting a little ambitious, just getting up in Steel's face.
Well, I mean, you say ambitious. I think Sejuani's early damage is definitely underrated by a lot of players. I'm not sure if there was exactly kill threat onto Steel there, but hey, still able to force away the Vice, still able to force her out the jungle, and that's not really something you associate Sejuani with. This isn't a champion that is bullying people at the level 6 mark.
Not anymore. I have fond memories of the past as Jet stunned will take half his health. Decent trade from Yaharong.
But a decent trade is just that. I like we're seeing
the
this
Pig Cat combo
from Enzi. Yeah, we're seeing the Pig Cat. That sounds like some sort of show on Cartoon Network.
I'm here. It's entertaining me so far. Just upsetting Steel and just moving the presence of Sengoku around the rift. Has that Rift Herald in its pocket to just go a little further. Expect to see that one timed around the dragon. Just make DFM sweat a little bit further. So far in this game, I'm pretty interested in how once makes the Sejuani work. So like just having the stun is great, but we're seeing more of a Yankos-like performance here where he is the pressure.
Applying it in the top lane as here comes Steel. So 3v2. Just going to be some gold injected into a few members of Sengoku and not much more. 10 minutes on the clock. That gold
Oh.
lead very early for Sengoku has slightly evened up. Here is a bit of a weird ult from Ebby.
Uncharacteristic for a top lane superhero. We've just spent how many minutes picking him up on the desk and in draft as well? And this is looking a little bit ropey, maybe a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, Paz is looking pretty uncomfortable here. No Dominus available for the Renekton. Flashes out of that stun, actually, and Harp actually gets pulled back. The Nautilus still taking tower aggro, but the stopwatch just in time to make the dive work.
It's a little short on the call to make. Would have maybe regenerated just enough of that missing health. The dive, more effective. DFM, they managed to get in there. Scoreline now bought even 4-4. Gold is pretty close, Middlecart. We're going to have a late game on our hands.
And I think this is the tenacity that we so often see from DFM. Even though Sengoku were able to find those advantages in the early game, it's been pulled around on them, and now it's DFM who are actually the ones making the aggressive plays, the ones going for these proactive movements. That means that that massive AD carry differential that was present 5 minutes ago has been completely evened up.
Yeah, the early game going missing. Neither team indexed too hard into a must-win in that early game, but to see the advantage lost, slightly concerning. Jets just completed his crown. Bit confused about that one. I think if Steel's going to be reaching the backline, he's going to be reaching for Vital. A little bit of damage reduction. Not the greatest for Azir. Maybe we'll see the LCK's all-famous no damage Azir just trying to keep Vital alive the best he can. As we see the replay in the bottom lane.
I think that was just the Dominus being popped there. And then, yes, and then setting up for the dive. Okay.
All right, props DFM. They made Paz feel like he needed to use that cooldown. With the Hex Drake live, it has just returned. We're looking down the sides of Sengoku. All cooldowns available outside of top lane summoners. Whereas for DFM, just the ultimate missing from Yaharong, Harp, and Evies should be back just in time.
Yeah, I think key thing though is that Ebby has the teleport available and Paz doesn't, as this Drake thrown a look by once, but decides that actually no, this is probably not the best idea for me to go to this. And with that top lane Ornn resetting out, is going to have full mana and can join this fight if needed. So I think Sengoku wisely backing away, giving up the second Drake in favor of DFM.
Once just wanted to see you jumped there. Wanted to see who was watching the door as he just wandered on in with Ebby's ultimate coming up. The timer, Sengoku patiently not rushing forwards. 2 Drakes. It's a bit of a worry. Remember, these are the super buff Drakes of the recent patches, which are a bit of a concern. They're harder to take down, but their bonuses are frankly huge.
Yeah, and it means that sort of fights around these Drakes are a lot more likely to precipitate, because I think in the past you could afford to give away maybe something like an Ocean Soul or maybe even a Cloud Soul, which is what we've got on the Rift this time. But I think now that is a very, very risky strategy and not something that you should be doing if you want to win League of Legends games.
Ideally not. Cloud Soul especially. Huge comeuppance. Ocean just buffed in numbers. Cloud just even more thematic. More slow resist. More ability to move around the map as we see once. He's in position by Nudipon, but that Sivir just so hard to assail on her own, so often left to her own devices for this reason. And even with 3 members, Sengoku don't think they can just jam under the tower. So they'll take the reset.
Yeah, you got the flash, you got the cleanse, you got the spell shield as well, and you've also just got Udipon's general ability, AD carrier, navigating a lot of these plays. Definitely not to be underestimated. Has been massive in team fights for nearly a decade in the LJL. It's honestly ridiculous that this guy has been playing at such a high level for so long.
And you know, so many championships all the way back from the LJL wasn't the LJL as we know it. He's just still going. He's still Mr. Insurance Policy, Mr. Carry at the end of the game. A bit worried about Jet here. That's 3 people committing forwards. He's holding soldiers behind him. This is a rotation up to the Herald, as you can see, just spawning through now. Paz has just taken a reset, so there is very little presence for Sengoku. While the Zeri out of the base is walking up, I'm starting to wonder if our Samurai are slightly behind on the tempo, where DFM's discipline, their veterancy, has led them on time to a second objective.
Does appear to be the case, but with mythics for every single member of Sengoku, I wouldn't be surprised if they fancy their chances at a 5v5 in the top side river. Shelly already down to 4,000 HP as once is potentially looking for an engage. The objective has been taken away, but we're going to go for the fight regardless. That's a pull back onto Paz, and you're bringing a Crocodile into your whole damn team. A 1-for-1 already as the dive back onto the backline from that Vi results in a double kill for Vital. And now the Zeri with the Yumi on her back could just keep firing out the damage. Utspot falling down for a third kill. The fight the flash for from Yarong, but it is not enough. A quadra kill for Vital in game 1 of the series, and he may just get the penta.
Pentakill for Vital. Excellent moves from Sengoku backwards and forwards. The Zeri so erratic, so fast. Made Yaharong's Talia unable to do its job. Jet rewarded for the crown. You'll see here Sengoku so slow in the approach. They've seeded the Herald. They want blood. The Spartan laser does not come across too fast. Does not reveal too much. It's on once and Paz to get in here. And even though he's scooped back, we'll see it. The Glacial, the Lizard Wizard all the way into the front line. That's all the cooldowns. Vital is in range. Jet is jumped upon by Steel.
Yeah.
All those cooldowns. Look at the crown. He's barely untouched. The ruler in this team fight, the Emperor of the front line. Vital just able to do so much. Look at all the damage he's taking. He's healing it all back up. The alignment of Sengoku's items into DFM's desire to come forwards was perfect.
So temporal. How many? Oh, that was.
All right, once. You deserve it.
Yeah.
Send it, boy.
How many Zeri Pentakills do you think we are going to be seeing in this series?
Oh,
Holy
gosh.
fish moly. 4,400 damage in a team fight at 15 minutes. Remember, temporal. This Zeri didn't even have 2 items at that fight, but now Sengoku have got a hyper-accelerated AD carry and feel very, very comfortable playing out these fights as Ebi caught out on the side lane, and DFM don't really have any way to respond to this. It's another kill going in favor of Sengoku. They've hit double digits now, and it's the team that we didn't expect to come out with this early game aggression, to come out with this proactive playmaking that are making it work. But Vital may have been called out. No summoners available still as Lightning Crash uses it, but it's not enough to keep him alive. But now Sengoku are responding to the play. Beautiful ult placement there by NT, catching multiple members of the reigning champions, and it's a 3-for-1 across the map.
So much to talk about, Middlecott. Oh, like, the gas has been struck and we are well and truly accelerating through this game. I'm going to start with huge praise for Sengoku. Assigning Jet, assigning the no damage Azir to the side lane is the perfect choice. It does enough to fight Ebi. It does enough to assign safely. However, they send everyone, and we saw what DFM's composition was meant to do in that fight. We saw Steel absolutely eviscerate the Zeri, held still for so long, paired up with the Nautilus. The way the kills and resets have come through, that will be Sengoku on this Dragon, no contest. No way for DFM to come forwards. They're going to trade now. This is getting a little sloppy, a little messy. In the next few seconds, someone, somewhere, is going to have to meet in the jungle as a Vision creeping up towards that Baron in 2 minutes.
The key things for me here, Sengoku taking that Drake denied DFM a potential soul win condition in the next 10 minutes. And that Herald summon in the mid lane from Steel wasn't able to take down that tower. That is such an important and objective, especially when these outer towers are starting to fall as well. It means that you can push your vision lines a little bit further forward and you make proactive plays just that little bit easier. Apparently, the LJL is a slow region, Temporal. It doesn't look like it.
It does not look like it at all. I want to even double down on your use of the Herald there. Dragons are mid-buffed. Herald 2 is buffed. If you get that immediate smack onto the tier 2, it can take you all the way to the Nexus as long as you defend it from the initial tower shots. DFM feel like they have to go faster. They feel like they need to keep up the pace. Sengoku have issued a challenge in game 1.
Yeah, and with the Baron spawning in a minute and how fed a few of these members of Sengoku are becoming, it's genuinely a real possibility if you can find a successful team fight around the top side, whether it's both teams moving into the mid lane, contesting for that priority, and Ebi may have been caught out, flashes away, but still gets hit by the Glacial Prison, and the follow-up from Sengoku is ridiculous. A 4th death for the MVP top laner in this game. Sengoku are here to play.
Ebi completely out of sorts, caught there. Lots of cooldowns thrown, but look at the icons next to Sengoku. They're all 25% recovered, and we barely moved back into the lane. Sengoku know what is valuable. They know what can be cast at a snap. They're coming forwards as a unit together. I'm so excited, Milton Cart.
Genuinely impressive stuff. We're seeing sort of the late game team fighting prowess that Sengoku has about 20 minutes before we usually do, which is absolutely great if you're a fan of two teams just fist fighting each other. 3 items completed on this Zeri pre-20 minutes. That is terrifying.
You know, we critiqued it that it had fallen down, that it equalized. There is no equal now. The lightning crash will come through once. Is the front line. Hop has responded.
But he's been caught. He's been caught. He's got too far forward, and Vital is dead. Now, what could DFM do with the rest of this fight? They can get another kill. Steel is able to take out NT, and Paz is falling down as well. An overstep from Vital in the mid lane cost his team 3 kills, and DFM may look towards Baron.
Every time I work for DFM's future, they manage to nail the Zeri, nail the engage. It will start up this Baron now. They'll reset 2 members, some tempo back on the map. They won't lose all of their mid, T1 and T2. Yarong just playing on the side lane. Huge from DFM. They have reestablished their composition. They have taken a quick breather. They are well back into this game. We'll see the replay. We'll see the open one straight in from the side. Very decisive, but then he falters. Maybe Vital just thought he was going a little too confident at Harp with a lollipop. What moves from DFM's support, who's performed so well this year. And once the front line is broken, Jeton wants too far away. Maybe a broken engage.
First Nautilus game of the summer split. Could you tell, Temporal? Honestly, that hook was absolutely brilliant. And we see the damage that can come out from Utapon there in that team fight. Nearly 4,000 damage on the Sivir himself. Now, both teams a hell of a lot more even than we were a few moments ago. But Sengoku, credit to them, after they lost that team fight, they went and traded for that mid lane tower. They went and pushed up that wave, and that meant that DFM, they couldn't quite get this shove in the mid lane as quickly as they would have liked. And whilst this tier 2, tier 1 is going to be falling down, they're looking for an engage onto Steel, though. The Vibe cannot get into the backline when she's the backline herself, diving forward onto members that she cannot possibly kill. As finally, she finds her way onto Vital. Steel, how the hell did you do that? DFM, how the hell have you come back in this game? This is a clean ace for the reigning champions as they march forwards.
Sengoku just too far, too fast. The Shurima shuffle blown. And you said the front line was the back line. It did go for a moment, but Vital was still where he started the fight. Still stuck in no man's land. And as soon as Steel could lock on, this area is looking more and more fragile by the moment.
Oh my word. We have been treated to an absolute barn burner so far in game 1. DFM focusing out the mid lane inhibitor at 22.5 minutes. We have had 27 kills already, Temporal. If we get 5 games of this, I'm a very happy camper.
All right, Steel gets stunned up. He actually cancels his own Q, flashes away. And while Yarong is straight onto Vital, he backs it up. Something keeping Vital, one ultimate after another at the back of that fight. It's a full fiesta up front. Everyone's dancing, ready to tango, and 3 members of DFM all call forwards on to that all-important Zeri. With that, Sengoku's broken open. They lose the fist fight with no chain lightning from the back.
And you have to question the positioning there, because you want your tanks in front of your Zeri, and just a little bit off to the side there from one's Vital stepping forward, yes, but you need to be covering for that.
If Zeri could skate the side, as I think Sengoku were expecting Vital to dash forwards and get aggressive, may have been the difference. Sole point here for DFM. They maintained the tempo after that last fight, not staying out on the map too greedily. I think we do have to talk for a moment about the way these 280 carries work, because we're always so excited for Chain Lightning. We're so excited for the Spartan Laser. But Utapon, it's a Sivir comp. They go so fast. They do so much damage so quickly. We really have to keep an eye on the slightly sneakier Sivir.
Those ricochets can just like come out of nowhere.
They add up, man. Maths
they just come out of nowhere, and it's all of a sudden you've lost most of your HP. Yaharong using the Weaver's Wall to isolate once and NT on this side of the tower, but with the Baron falling away, a 5,600 gold power play. Nonetheless, for DFM, they will retreat from this bot side. The game in their favor for the time being, but we've seen this game swing already so many times.
It's so tense right now. It's so tight at the top of the LJL. Truly a 2-team region. Either of these 2 huge titans could be our world's representative. I think it's fair to say, we're not expecting 3rd place to put up much of a fight. Maybe I've cursed it. Who knows? Sengoku just waiting there. They will manage to farm a bit better out of this mid lane. That's a very early inhibitor that the Zeri, that the Azir can soak up gold from. I'm a bit disappointed that Paz hasn't gone for the Chem Tank build, hasn't gone for something a little newer. We've seen from Renekton across the world. He's still that frontline bruiser. He can still push W. But he maybe won't be as effective as he otherwise could be.
And looking at his counterpart, Ebby, credit to him. He was 1-4 at one point in these games, but in the team fights, he's been doing all things, standing in people's way and CCing everybody as, hold on, that may be a cuss, because he's forced to flash back and gets eviscerated. Sengoku find a pick onto a member of DFM, and Steel, missing that bro breaker, may have caught himself out here. Look at Utspod trying to cut away on the top side of the fight, away from Vods, as he does manage to do it, as Paz fighting up against Yaharong as well. This is such a split fight, but it is going in favor of DFM as it stands. Jet falling down, and Vital and NT the only ones left alive.
Too split from Sengoku. They fight on too many fronts. The ineffective Renekton build is not enough on its own to take other people down, only to drain tank in the front line. That's not what Sengoku need right now. It's not what they needed in that short snap engage. We're seeing Yaharong's Talia do so much work. Let's see how this one opens up. We cast a curse. Ebby, look at you mind controlling him forwards, middle cart. I can't believe you've done this once. Interfacing in the front line. That's Yaharong's cooldown. The E, those stones on the ground do take a while to come back, and even though the exhaust gets on a Udpon once is not enough. He is not Steel on this Vi. He is not a huge threat. He will fall as Vital has to respond to that huge threat. Has to come backwards. Steel just putting in so much work in this mid game.
Yeah, I think massive credit to him. Even when the situation's looked a little bit dire for the Vi, he's been low on HP, he's been out of position, he somehow always manages to find a way to get that ult onto Vital, to get that ult onto the Zeri, and that means that Utapon and Yaharong can deal explicit levels of damage.
It is extra judicious the way this Zeri has been found time and time again. We look to it in the next fight. We look to see whether Steel can continue this chain now. He's got 3 or 4 in a row of either taking the Zeri out or making her ineffective.
Important thing to note, Vital is on 4 items right now on the Zeri. Has that Lord Doms and that Infinity Edge completed. Utapon only sat on the Infinity Edge. He doesn't have that bonus damage against the tankier members of Sengoku. That may flip this fight.
A good laser to start this one off from Sengoku. They have no reason to take this at a snap engage. They want to play this slowly. They're backing away from mid lane. The tension here is both teams fight for priority, fight for the better position.
Sengoku kiting back into a choke. Oh, my word.
Man. Mad
Yaharong have found that flip. That could have been disastrous. As you see how important mid lane priority is here, as once again it's Ebby, the initial engage for Sengoku, but Yaharong gonna get locked up as well.
Vital.
Again, somehow Steel finds Vital and takes him out. A triple kill for Yaharong in the engage. Clean stuff from DFM. Immaculate in the team fights. Another ace.
They'll manage to pick up Jet slowly but surely. This Azir is just prolonging the inevitable. Huge work from Steel, huge work from Harp. They managed to pick up the Zeri, that even Shroud in Harp's inventory, just making sure with the armor break, with the fists thrown, that our Piltover policeman can just stop this Zeri, put her in the pound. And with that, they're going to lock up game 1. They're going to secure the victory. Detonation FocusMe. It looked rough. It didn't look ready. But in game 1, they have held their nerve.
It was a strong start from Sengoku in this game. In this series, the first Nexus explosion goes in favor of the team that has